Welcome to the age of Aquarius. Today we're going to have a cosmic welcome party to welcome Pluto in Aquarius. This is going to be a short but ceremonial gate opening podcast for those of you that are into astrology. I think it's really important. I'm going to talk about how it will affect you personally, but this is going to get juicy. We are officially in the future of tech, of innovation, of AI. This is where we begin a 20-year reign. The revolution will be witchy. And I want to welcome you officially to the threshold. We are in the very beginning of the age of Aquarius, of Pluto transitioning into Aquarius for the next 20 years of our lives, which means we're talking about the planet of power, death, rebirth, underworld. Enter Aquarius. Now this transit is not leaving until 2044. This is a big deal. So the next 20 years of your life, the next year of your life will not even look the same. This is not a transit, folks. This is a revolution. So sit down, light a candle, get a drink. I have a iced coffee right here. Let's talk about what it means for you personally, for the collective, and as a whole for the planet Aquarius rising. Seriously, serious talk. Pluto. Transformation, shadow work, destruction, regeneration, power, control, secrets, taboos. Aquarius, innovation, tech, rebellion, community, queerness, social justice, internet, future, forward thinking, astrology, consciousness. So mixing Pluto and Aquarius together might be my time. Pluto does not change signs very frequently. It changes every 248 years, okay? It orbits the sun in that time frame. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius was the late 1700s. Cue the dramatic music, okay? We're talking French Revolution, American Revolution, electricity being discovered. So many things happened in that time frame. There were major systematic shifts that happened, upheavals in the world. But now it's different. We're talking AI, gender revolutions, collapsing of governments. We're seeing that happen everywhere, including here. And now we're also going to be seeing the digital rise of witchcraft, paranormal, occult. Let's talk about what we're leaving behind. Pluto in Capricorn, which was 2008 to 23. That's a hard transit because Capricorn is restrictive, right? It's about being serious, workaholic, getting the rules underway. Aquarius is about breaking the rules. So this is a purge moment from past, right? So we're getting rid of hierarchies. We're getting rid of patriarchal systems, corporate power, corporate injustice, institutions, billionaires, millionaires. The masks are going to fall. What are we leaving behind? Surveillance of capitalism, workaholism, financial collapse, and control via legacy systems. So even think about monopolies like Bezos. You could say that Capricorn taught us the rules. Pluto there showed us how they were built to break us. But Aquarius is going to say, let's rewrite the system entirely, because Aquarius is very forward thinking. I'm an Aquarius moon. She's an alien. Okay. Now let's talk about the themes for the next 20 years at hand. There's going to be a collapse of outdated systems. Some people have made the comment asking me, why don't I talk more about politics? Well, I'm pretty sure you know where I stand, right? Especially being in the goth community. Goth is political, right? Goth is very political. If you're talking about the synth wave, the 80s, goth music itself, punk, under the alt umbrella is quite political. Goth essentially means fuck the system. I'm right there with it, okay? It basically means it's corrupt, power is corrupt, the system is corrupt. One of the things I actually like about Motionless in White is how political they are. I don't know if you've ever really listened to their music. And I really feel like Motionless in White probably isn't the best goth band example because they're definitely more of like metalcore. But I want to read you a couple of lyrics that Chris made. Now, I don't know all of his songs. I've said this before. I'm not into Motionless in White lore. Like, I don't know everything by heart. I don't know all their songs. They came out with a song in 2012 called America. Okay, it says, this is the lyrics that Chris came up with, which is why I'm so attracted to him, because he's so connected to Source and his higher self. We take medication to be someone else, and we take off our clothes to pay for the bills. We're downloading content will buy you a sentence, and murder is free in the Hollywood Hills. I'm living one big nightmare. The ugly truth has a model face. Making saints out of useless pop stars. Where is the intelligence? America, home of the free, the sick, and depraved. America, why are you looking at me? Anyway, it gets deep. So, but they're saying we're eating cake at Capitol Hill. That's a good one, okay? But he also did, let's see, Motionless in White. I'm trying to think of, he had quite a few songs that were controversial on his last album that were quite political. There was one, Meltdown Lyrics, that was what it was called. Meltdown is a song that is about, I think, the pandemic that we went through. It feels so frantic, automatic, collapsing paradigm. Everyone's dancing in the ashes, all hail the end of time. We're wrapped in chain reactions from words of mass distraction, so we explode in the snow globe while the cure is classified. Ignoring the warming, like global warming, and now we're globally mourning, and it's too late for a warning, it's too late. Runaway, man-infested destiny, no escape, headfirst into the outbreak. This is our apocalypse, doomsday at our fingertips. Trigger the countdown, run up the head count, we're all invited to the meltdown. And I think there's a part in here where it says you can't spell virus without us. Really good. So that's another thing. The reason I'm pointing this out is the age of Aquarius, you're going to also see a lot more political statements made by people in the community of the alt-goth genre. You're going to see a huge rise in just political artwork in general because this is a mass movement. So I'm just kind of prepping you guys for that too. Hayley Williams just went viral for her, I think she was on Jimmy Fallon, and she had a major political statement, and we're going to see a lot more of those. That's artwork, lyricists, and I feel like Chris with Motionless in White was way ahead of his time because that came out a couple of years ago. He was probably the first artist to really drop a record ahead of his time, which is why I feel like he was so in tune with his higher self. But this is going to cause a lot of artists to come out, and it's going to create a movement and forward motion that the old paradigm, everything with the patriarchy that we've experienced all these years is no longer serving us. It's going to have to fall. The reason that I don't talk too much about politics is a few reasons. I feel like I already kind of do with my paranormal because I'm kind of forced to. But also, I look at things from a very 5D perspective. And what I mean by that is, I'm not scared of change, I guess. It's like a tarot card. If you read or study tarot, the old has to crumble in order for the new to be built. So it seems fearful, but we also have a collective responsibility that if we want change, we have to be the change, okay? Do you see what I'm saying? So now let's go back into sort of what we're in store for the next 20 years with Aquarius and Pluto. Collapse of the outdated systems. We're going to see a rise of decentralized power. This includes, crypto, community networks, even AI creators and alternative media. I'm right there on board with AI, is not art. I agree. There's a lot of AI people that use AI for video editing. No, they're not their own voice. It's a fake AI voice, fake AI footage. There's even musician bands that are full AI, and I agree that. I also don't agree with AI being in film community because it's if everybody could do it, then they would, but unfortunately we're still going to see a rise in it of alternate media. We're not going to have a choice because it's the future and it's the age of Aquarius. We're going to see a huge queer and trans rights revolution. It's going to be probably worldwide is what I assume. Eventually in the next 20 years, we're going to see space travel, alien disclosure, and then tech versus humanity. I still follow Bashar, and Bashar claims that there's going to be full alien contact by 27, which also aligns perfectly with the age of Aquarius. And Bashar says that the aliens that are going to visit us are going to tell planet Earth the truth on how we were actually, our origins, essentially, because he also says from a spiritual perspective that all societies on earth have been manipulated by, the Bible and religion. And I couldn't agree with that more. I want you to tuck that in the back of your head because we're going to be using that for the next podcast. Paranormal is going to become extremely mainstream is my prediction because phase one's done. Phase one of paranormal is done. We've already proved that it's there. okay? We don't need to prove that it exists anymore. I'm not here to, to skeptics that it exists or not. You either believe or you don't. And that's also going to see the sort of collapse of two worlds that are separating. You're going to see it right now. There's people that are very much still clinging on to the old world, to the patriarchy, to suppression of women, to suppression of women's rights, to trans rights. And then there's the new world where men are even coming confidently into their divine feminine energy. I'm not saying gay. Every person has masculine, feminine energy. And unfortunately, the patriarchy has suppressed the men to not be in touch with their divine feminine energy. We're going to touch on that on next podcast, okay? Community care over government dependency. I think that's going to rise. Witchcraft and spirituality are going to go digital. I think it's going to be bigger than it's ever been before. So we are right there on track. Oftentimes in the past, we even saw that with like the Fox sisters and the revolutions, that when a change comes with government systems or a collapse, people often reference back to spiritualism, not religion, which is exactly where this is going, which is good because I believe that we are God. We are Christ consciousness is within you. You don't have to externally find that through, going to an actual church or paying a pastor, what have you. So the questions you need to ask yourself are these. Are you ready to rebel for the next phase of your life? What parts of yourself need a death? Do I fear being too radical or weird? Because remember, Aquarian energy welcomes that. When you're in Aquarius or you're in Aquarian energy, the weirder you are, the better it is. You need to be standing out. You cannot be like the grain because the masks are falling. You have to be authentic in this next phase of life because people will sense it. Tips to thrive. Trust your weirdness is your internal compass right now. Digital sovereignty is survival, finding community, especially when there's a control or a collapse of media that's happening right now. We rise together as Aquarius. It is about the collective energy. You are also ready to shift identities. Be ready to shift identities because Aquarius is air energy. Pluto is there and air energy moves fast thinking, forward thinking, the future is now. And remember, rebirth is not cute, it's chaotic, but it's necessary. Be skeptical, stay open, because everything we know is about to change and it's getting rewritten. Do not lead with fear, lead with certainty that the old must fall first in order for the new to be rebuilt. I think of it like this for myself. This is the age of the intuitive cyborg, the glam ghost girl with coding skill. The mystic in black lipstick who can build her empire online, which is what I'm doing right now. Aquarius only favors those who honor the future and free thinking. You are channeling the ancient, and remember that you are the collective. You are part of the collective. So you have to free think forward for the collective. So here we are together right now, standing in a 20-year doorway. It feels pretty scary, doesn't it? It feels like we're about to commit to something. It feels like that leap right before you're about to incarnate. The next chapter of Earth begins now, and it will be nothing like we've ever seen before. And you were here to help shape it. Make sure you're standing on the correct side of history. Make sure you check and choose your realities wisely, because remember, at the end of the day, you are the master of your own life. You are the captain of your ship. Pluto in Aquarius will not coddle you. Don't look for coddling. But it will absolutely reveal your power. Stay open to strange, stay sovereign, and welcome the new revolution. Let's talk about Pluto and Aquarius through the houses. Hopefully by now you have your birth chart. If you don't, go to astro.com for free and find your birth chart. Find out what your rising sign is. Look to see where astrology sign Aquarius is in your chart, and that's going to be the area of your life that will be transformed for the next 20 years. If you're an Aquarius rising, your identity is being rebirthed. You're shedding who you thought you were. And in 5 years, people are not going to recognize you. Second house, Capricorn rising, themes are resources, possessions, and how you earn. Now, sometimes this can feel like a financial crisis, but it will lead to a redefinition of value. So don't freak out if something happens, but Capricorn rising is you're money driven anyway. So just don't have too much control issues, because remember, Aquarians are free thinking individuals, okay? Aquarius energy is free thinking, forward thinking individuals. Try to be a little bit lenient, Capricorns. Sagittarius rising, this is for my third housers. Your voice is now your weapon, which is dangerous anyway if you've got Sag placements, but expect transformations with communication, tech, teachings, and content creation. So maybe it's time to put yourself out there. Scorpio rising, you're in the 4th house of Aquarius. Your roots are now being evacuated. Okay, so this could be a little nerve-wracking. There could be some childhood trauma that comes up. There's a lot of shadow work. There's a lot of transformations happening for my Scorpio risings, but it's nothing you're not used to. Okay, Scorpios, you're the pros at death and rebirth. My parents were Scorpio risings. So just remember, if it feels like instability, it's because something has to be removed. Remove the old foundation. You could be in a forced relocation. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? So anyway, just try to go with the flow, Scorpios. You got this. You're meant to break the ancestral chains to build a new legacy, okay? 5th house, Libra risings, creative death and rebirth through arts, okay? This could be a sense of joy being redefined, okay? So themes, creativity, dating, children, expression, this could all be happening for you in the 5th house. 6th house, where are my Virgo risings at, okay? This is a total transformation of your health. You might have a physical, literal glow up. This could even be at work, at service, routines, wellness, okay? Chronic health issues could happen or burnout if you're not careful, okay? So find that balance, find that Libra balance, okay? Healing for you is the revolution. 7th house, Leo risings. Ooh, girl, your relationships are going to be burned clean, okay? Don't stress. Every partnership, romantic, platonic, family, is going to be under a magnifying glass. If anybody's there that shouldn't be there, you better get rid of them now, okay? Because it can be beautiful. It can be marriage, soulmates, twin flames, contracts. But if you have people hanging around you, Leos, that are causing power struggles and codependency, expect Pluto to remove those bad boys, okay? 8th house, Cancer rising. You're looking at a Cancer rising right here. Do I look like a crab? I don't think I look like a crab. Anyway, death, sex, power, and rebirth. It's exactly who I am at my core. Just kidding. Full-scale underworld initiation, Cancer risings. The question is, have you done the work? Because if you've done the work, you will be in your full power of intimacy, transformation, money, magic, and even inheritance, okay? If you have not done the work, expect intense losses, awakenings, and massive spiritual awakenings, okay? Don't fear the death. Walk through it, girl. But if you have walked through it, expect your psychic activation to happen. It's going to be personal alchemy and it's going to be divine rebirth. You're becoming your own oracle and there is no looking back. Cancer risings, you will be leading the age of Aquarius through paranormal and occult. I'm excited to have you here, okay? 9th house of Gemini risings. Whatever your beliefs are, might be some religious trauma, it's going to set you free. Okay, so if you've got spirituality, higher education, travel, philosophy might be on the books. But if you've got some dogma or fear of freedom, expect some spiritual crises to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, fear of freedom, all that stuff, just remember that it has to be burned to be rebuilt. Okay? 10th house, Taurus risings. Career, death, and rebirth, and your legacy is on the line. This is quite serious for you for the next 10, 20 years, Taurus risings. 10th house is your area of career, whatever you choose. So this could be changing jobs, career, reputation, a public role, fame. But if you haven't done the work, expect job loss, sudden changes, rebranding. Be careful of imposter syndrome. That's pretty bad. Let your rise be from the ashes, okay? And if something happens and you get you lose a job, don't panic. It's just Pluto is moving things around to shift in your favor, okay? 11th house, Aries risings. Your community, your friends, future visions are basically being rewritten. You're upgrading your social circle, friendships, networks, online presence. If you feel like you have people that shouldn't be there, jealousy, obsession, isolation, just remember, once again, you're an Aries and you were born to start a revolution. So you got this because you got fire under your belt. Pisces risings. You have the 12th house of Aquarius. You have deep inner transformation. You're probably having the deepest inner transformation of everyone. You're dissolving literally into source for the next 20 years and coming back as a new person. It's essentially a psychic boot camp that you'll be experiencing because the 12th house is about the other side, religion, subconscious dreams, healing, isolation, and even the occult. If you are a healed Pisces rising, you will be coming alongside Cancer risings and you'll also be leading the phase 2 of the occult and paranormal. If you have not, you're going to have some shadow to work on. And be careful, because with the 12th house in Aquarius, you could go into escapism or addiction, okay? So, it's fear of the unknown, blurring the lines, and Pisces risings are known for, any Pisces placements are already very psychically in tune with the other side. So please remember who you are beyond the veil, and remember that it's okay to have a physical self and your shadow self, okay? Pluto is not fun. It doesn't whisper. It's going to come in and it's going to reconstruct you and make you more powerful than you've ever been. I want to personally talk about my placement, Pluto in the 8th house, okay? Well, Pluto will be in my 8th house of Aquarius. So I have a Cancer rising, but my moon and Jupiter are in Aquarius that are conjunct also in the 8th house. And this isn't really a casual placement, okay? Jupiter is the planet of luck. Your moon is your inner world. It's my inner thoughts. Really, you guys see my Jupiter moon, my inner thoughts more than anyone, because when I set these podcasts up, this is my thought processes kind of come onto paper. Essentially, having Jupiter and the moon in the 8th house of Aquarius is like the high priestess of shadow work. And clearly I've done that just because of all of the things I've experienced and the dark night of the soul that I've walked. And I'm sort of channeling the underworld at a crossroads of death, rebirth, revolution, and sort of spewing that back out for you guys to hear me. And I'm sort of leading the path for you in the darkness, or Cancer risings in general are. But I want to break it down even more, because the 8th house, essentially having Aquarius there, is like underworld royalty. This is the house of death and rebirth, okay? This is the house of occult, magic, and mediumship. So I am going to be in my element probably more than I've ever been. So watch out, because I've already felt a shift happen. I have a bunch of podcasts already planned and ready to go. So you're going to see a very confident new person come out regarding paranormal, occult, and my mediumship abilities. This house rules other people's money, which is like taxes, inheritances, shared finances, business collaborations. So my success is probably bound to come now, one way or another. And it's obviously very obvious my dad's, inheritance, his estate closed recently, right, to lead me right into the age of Aquarius. This is also the house of sex, trauma, and transformation. And I've talked about some sexual trauma that I've had essentially in the industry of paranormal, being a female that's above average. So, I've been really working on working out. I'm going to be changing my body. I already am changing my body. I've already had some procedures done. I'm also planning on getting tattoos, which I've never had. It's going to be very Persephone underworld themed. So I assume you'll probably be eventually seeing more skin that I've ever showed before. Not yet, because I'm not ready. But once that transformation happens, I feel like I'm finally confidently in my element of who I've always needed to become internally. Shadow and psychology and ancestral healing is a part of this house. Taboo topics, power and control, which obviously I cover all of this under occult. And Pluto is technically the lord of the underworld. Hades right here. Sorry, do you see Hades, my future husband, wherever he is? And, Hades walks into this house like he owns it. Because, well, he kind of does as far as Pluto goes. What this means for me personally is I will probably be a catalyst for transformation, because I started with healing myself first. My moon and my Jupiter that are in Aquarius mean that my moon, which is my emotions, and my Jupiter is yes, it's luck, but it's also expansion and teaching abilities. And when you put those together, I'm already in tune with Aquarian energy. I've always been kind of free thinking forward, of angry with the patriarchy within the paranormal. So I've been there for a while. I learned the rules with Capricorn and Pluto, and now I'm ready to break them, okay? Pluto landing here is activating me like a spiritual supernova, okay? I'm here to transform trauma into truth and lead the pack for you guys. Teach others how to sort of shed their powers or shed versions of themselves that no longer coexist with the future version or the current version of yourself. And I'm helping you step into your power. It's almost like a death doula for old, lost paradigms that just never They don't work with us currently anymore. And this can be spiritual, social, or even psychological. I'm also planning on to use beauty, fashion, glamour as, a ritual to reclaim power for females. And building empires from ashes, when everyone told me I couldn't, I will sit here and say, watch me. And I hope that also gives you fire under your own belt for whatever you're wanting to manifest. A Cancer rising is probably one of the gatekeepers for the new age of the occult or paranormal, because we have Aquarius in the 8th house, and I'm not alone in this transit. A lot of people mix up Cancer rising as this airy, soft, feminine energy, which is what I've always been seen in the occult. And I am. However, I also have now incorporated fully my dark divine feminine energy, which is Hecate, Persephone, and Lilith, right into my circle. And there is no fear for all the witches that have burned, right? I don't just teach shadow, I embody it. I am the shadow. And I teach you not to fear it. Don't fear the fire, walk through it. Pluto in Aquarius will now unlock this next layer with me for you. And I kind of look back at everything I've been through since 2022, and it's not just that I am not watching the shift, I am the change, and I'll be leading the pack out of this. And I mean this on, yes, of course, on a patriarchal level as far as the occult goes, but I also mean as far as shadow work and healing, to not fear it. My path has always been about death and transformation and rebirth. It just wasn't quite literal until my mom died. It was shadow work and helping others through it and helping others see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's my zone. And I'm really glad I ended up sharing that with you guys, because in the beginning, I didn't know if it was the right answer or not. And now looking back, I'm really glad that I've shared this with you, because you can see every phase I've gone through and understand it was just another layer so that you don't fear the darkness. My energy is not for the faint of heart, and I know that, okay? It's only for those who are ready to rip off their own mask, dissolve the illusion that maybe your family, society, or religion has forced upon you. Meet your higher self in the ashes and become your highest version. Glamour might be my language, spirit is my mission, and transformation is my weapon. Over the next 20 years, Pluto will force you to evolve, and I'll be right here with you. I'll hold the door open, I'll tell you the truth, I won't sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to say something just to make you feel comfortable. I will help you rebuild your power and remind you that although death and rebirth is bloody and ugly, when it's over, it is beautiful and gorgeous, and you too can be Persephone. I'm going to lead this personally through beauty rituals and shadow work, through paranormal storytelling, unlocking ancestral trauma and the truth behind it, and my mediumship, through fashion that revives my own personal archetype of Persephone and the goth culture. Through my spirit team, they're going to be right here with me the whole time, giving advice, and I'm sure I'll have even more dreams and premonitions to share with you in the future. I'll be sharing these through podcasts, through videos on YouTube, and this is now time for the dark feminine to rise. So if you're with me, stand. And this will only rise through feminine power, and feminine power can be within men as well, being unapologetically mystical and futuristic in the same breath. And here's why I'm not afraid of taboo. I'm not afraid of talking about death and rebirth and resurrection and the scary stuff that people don't like to address because of religion. I want to be the bridge between the occult for you and the algorithm. I will not ever sugarcoat healing. I will tell you it is painful and traumatic and dark and lonely and isolating. But when it's done, you will never trade it again for your most authentic version of yourself. I would never go backwards to any other version of myself than I am today, knowing that I had to walk through the dark depths of the underworld alone and isolated, because the girl I am today cannot be sacrificed. And I want the same for you. Let's glamorize the grief. Let's feel it together. And let's make it sacred. This is my house of Persephone that I get to share with you. You only get to earn your crown once you've walked through the shadow. So here we are, Spirit fam, Ghost Girl Diaries fam. Pluto has now crossed the threshold. And whether you're ready or not, the transformation begins now. You might feel it already, cracks in the system in your personal life. We're definitely seeing it as far as all of the crazy things happening in our world and in the United States today. Shadows are rising, the masks are falling, truths will be revealed, and it's not going to get any better. It's going to get ugly, Just like Persephone walking through the underworld, everything around us also must go through its own rebirth. This isn't something to fear, it's something to lead, so keep that in mind. Because remember, this era will not belong to the loudest, most obnoxious voice in the room. It will belong to those who have earned and learned how to dance alone in the dark. Spiritualism will now rise. And if you think that this shift is just about the stars, wait until our next podcast, where we talk about the 400 years of patriarchal fear that was disguised as religion and righteousness, which ended up turning into witch hangings, the demonization of feminine power. The divine feminine was silenced. She was killed, she was hung, she was burned. And there was a silencing of every woman after that for the last 400 years who dared to speak. But guess who isn't afraid to speak? In the next podcast, we'll talk about the real story behind the witch hunts. And it's much more dark and sinister than you'd ever think. It's not the story you were told in school, that's for sure. It's definitely not the story in the sanitized handbooks and textbooks that they gave us either. It's a story that they burned to keep us burned and silenced. But the real question is, who lit the match? Why were they so afraid of the women that they burned? Until then, stay sovereign, stay weird and strange, because Aquarius will force it. Do not fit in. Do not settle for less. And may your power scare all the right people. But you can always find me on YouTube or the podcast, which is Spotify, Apple, and all other major streaming services. We're going to be uploading weekly on Fridays. The next few episodes are going to be heavy, so bring your thinking caps. And I'm also proud to announce that I got an email from YouTube saying that I've been recognized as a top 20% creator, which is really great because I feel like I haven't even done half of what I'm capable of or what I used to do, like with the old channel. But trust me, I'm just getting started because Aquarius is here now. Subscribe, support the show, and I'll see you maybe in the next life or the next upload. I'll catch you guys next time.